gym here in Ateneo de Manila University for the National Student Athletes Championship 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. It's our first game for our Sunday quadruple header featuring the Letran Knights going up against the St. Clare Saints. Let us now meet the players first for the Colegio de San Juan de Letran Knights. Number 2, Mark Almonte. Number 3, Chad Gama. Number 5, Denzel Walker. Number 7, Nathan Montecillo. Number 9, Justin Cargo. Number 12, Luis Tapeno. Number 13, Jonathan Manalili. Number 14, Aaron Gonzalez. Number 15, Sadik Senorio. Number 16, Lance Siena. Number 18, Rats Muyuela. Number 24, George Jalate. Number 26, Jimbo Estrada. Number 27, Justin Hugo. Number 44, Gabriel De Pacera. And number 81, Elijah Yusi. And now let's meet the St. Clare Saints. Number 3, Sean Pahimna. Number 4, Richmond Montejo. Number 6, Clint Manzano. Number 8, James Mendoza. Number 11, John Paul Correa. Number 12, Angelo Marinas. Number 16, Soy Escobedo. Number 24, Joko Porcelo. Number 25, Angelo Ibanez. Number 27,
welcome everybody to the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. It is our fourth game of our second week, and we are here at the Ateneo Blue Eagle Gym, of course, in Katipunan, Quezon City. First thing in the morning, we already have basketball. What a treat! As we started off here with Letran versus St. Clare, then it will be followed by USC versus NU, then DLSU versus Mapua, and of course the Battle of Katipunan at 4 p.m. between UP versus Ateneo. Good morning, everybody. My name is Rain Tigzon, and we are very excited to see our games today here at the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Tour. Now, of course, before we get into the nitty-gritty things, we want to see what exactly the best of the best will have to go through in our collegiate ranks here, of course, in NSAC 2026. Now, our tournament format will begin with a round of 16, which will be divided into 4 groups. Now, in these 4 groups, the top 2 will advance into the quarterfinals, and eventually they will make it over to the semifinals, which will determine their placements, where they will stand, whether it will be in the 3rd place game or, of course, in the finals. Now, you can see here on your screens Group A to Group D, but let us zone in to Group C, as we are going to see a game between the St. Clare Saints and the Letran Knights. So this is going to be our matchup here for our first game in a quadruple header this Sunday morning. Now let's take a look at our standings here. You can see that there are a little bit of differences in terms of the different groupings, but I really want to look at this Group C because both of these teams, St. Clare and Letran specifically, are still yearning for that first win, especially for St. Clare, because this is going to be their last game of eliminations. Meanwhile, Letran played yesterday against the FEU Tamaraos. And you know, this team, Letran, of course, is really just a spectacle that must be witnessed, especially after that bombastic performance of Titing Manalili. Now, in that game against FEU, he had 22 points, 9 out of 11 from the field, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, but he did have 5 turnovers. But then again, Coach Allen can allow those errors because of how important he is to the team. And on the side of St. Clare, you can also see that there is a heavy reliance on their foreign student athletes, Diona Musa. But before we, take a look at St. Clare, let's really zone in here with Letran because they lost a lot of key players like Mark Denver Omega, Dio Coahao, and Jun Roque. But despite that, this is a very intact team. They do still have Titing Manalili, Jimboy Estrada, and Kevin Santos. And of course, under Coach Alan Ricardo, you can just expect the best out of the best from the runner-ups in the NCAA Season 101 runner-ups. Of course, that silver medal finish against San Beda. Now, let's take a look this time around at St. Clare. Now, you kind of saw a little bit of a slower start, and it seems like that is the pattern in our games whenever we cover St. Clare, and that is something that they want to address, especially after a team that has so much experience like the Letran Knights. And in that game, the bench points was really the big difference makers. You can see 27 to 44, and that is something that they might want to address in this game. But we already set the scene. We already know what we can expect. Now, let's move it over to our barker to hear our starting lineups for both our squads.
Shooting guard, number 25, Angelo Ibanez. Small forward, number 16, Soso Escobedo. Power forward, number 6, Clint Manzano. And at center, number 34, Aga Malo. Head coach for the Saints is Janino Manansala. Our officials for our first game this Sunday: Pucci Serpimo, umpire 1, Zen Manansala, and umpire 2, Edwin Chico.
And first game of our fourth game day, we have Manalili, Gamad, Siena, Hugo, and Buensalida for the Letran Knights. And for the St. Clare Saints, we have Montejo Ibanez. And of course, the rest of the St. Clare Knights will be starting us off with our first game of our fourth day Of course, this matchup between St. Clair and Letran is going to be extremely crucial in their run here, especially if they want to keep themselves alive because, again, top two teams will make it into the quarterfinals. And we started off here with a basket by Gamad to put Letran on the board. Montejo goes over to Manzano. Manzano looking for that open shooter. Ibanez couldn't get that to fall through. Forward pass to Titing. Manalili had 10 assists in that game against FEU. It seems like he's gonna get his first one here thanks to that bucket there by Aaron Buensalida. Can already see the aggression here of the Letran Knights. They want to start strong. St. Clair still trying to get a bucket. Of course, under Coach Gino Manansala, they are the 8-time champions of the NAASCU tournament. And you know, interestingly enough, after winning that, JB Lim transferred to Letran after the championship. And what school does he go to? He goes to the Letran Knights. So it's going to be interesting how he will be going up against his former teammates in the Saints. And our referees are going to take a quick break to see who exactly hit that out-of-bounds play. 6-0 is our score so far. About 2 minutes has gone by. Again, this is our first game. Later on, there are big headlines. UST versus NU, LaSalle versus Mapua, and UP versus Ateneo following right after this ball game. And you know, at this point, you know, 4 days in, it's already extremely crucial. These teams are only secured 3 games apiece in that group stage. So every point, every game matters, and this is what our referees are trying to take a look at. Initial call on the floor was going to be Letran basketball, but our referees want to make it absolutely certain that they got this call correctly. Let's take a look at that. Very, very slim margin between these two rebounders. 6-0 is our score. The call will stand as it will be heading over to the Letran Knights. They have the advantage here with a 6-0 start. Great defensive read there by the Saints. That's good anticipation by Angelo Ibanez. So they have 16 seconds remaining on the shot clock with 8:33 remaining on the clock. They go to Titing. Manalili picks up that FSA. Short stab. Basket is good for Justin Hugo. So it is an 8-0 run this time. Great start here for the Letran Knights. Again, they are second place finishers in the NCAA. But then again, you cannot count out the 8-time NAASCU champions with the St. Clair Saints. But right now, you know, the trend seems to be still going on with St. Clair. They do have that issue with starting slow. So obviously, they want to get some points on the board, hoping to cut this run. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Montejo swiveling. The shot is put up. Basket finally falls. And that's going to be thanks to Clint Manzano. So 8-3 is our score. That was deemed a three-pointer by our referees. And the swipe by Escobedo. But he did not have enough breathing room there. And that's going to be a turnover for him. But before that, let's take a look at how St. Clair got that first basket. The great pass there by Montejo, locating Manzano in that right wing. That's a great start here for Letran. Immediately, you know, being answered back by St. Clair. So they want to make sure that the lead is manageable, especially because both of these teams are still winless here at the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. 8-3 still is our score. That was a miss by the Letran Knights. Montejo locating. That was a good shot by Ibanez, but on the floor is Titing Manalili. Seems like there was a little bit of contact there. And in that last game, he did just play 20 minutes. So we're not entirely sure why Coach Allen is, not giving him the normal minutes that he plays, which is usually about 30 minutes or more, as he is being escorted out of the court. Coach Gino Manansala taking a look also, hoping nothing too serious there for Manalili, and he is being checked out by his medical staff. So our score will stay at 8-3. Letran Knights with a 5-point advantage. Santos. Sorry, that's Montecillo rather. And that is going to be a foul on the defensive stop of the St. Clair Saints. Ball stays with the Letran Knights with 14 seconds. Ooh, 2 fouls in that possession. So immediately, the turnaround of things. That's unfortunate because they just got a really good look at a really good basket, and now they're kind of shutting down their momentum. Care of those 2 fouls, so they're hoping not to pick up one anytime soon. The drive, great defensive stop again by the St. Clair Saints. Going straight to the cup. Basket is good for Richmond Montejo. And again, it's a good thing that they didn't let those stoppages, stop the run that they already established. That's a great 5-0 answer by the St. Clair Saints. And it's going to be an offensive foul this time around for Letran. Take a look at this. That was thanks to a defensive swipe that eventually moved on to an offensive make. Richmond Montejo, the star of that possession. "13 seconds on the shot clock. A couple of handoffs. It's with Manzano. He gives it over to Ibanez. Ibanez goes a little bit closer, but could not secure that bucket in. Gamad lost control. Great defensive stops here by the St. Clair Saints. And a counter steal this time around for Letran. Again, another whistle on SCC. That's going to be their 3rd team foul. And not even halfway through this first quarter. "22 seconds, one-on-one coverage there. Hugo gives it over to Siena. There's a 3 on the way. That's too strong for Montecillo. Now they're pushing the pace, talking about the Saints. Escobedo wanted to go straight to the cup. Instead, he is met up top by Buensalida. And a quick timeout is called. But before that, let's take a look at that last one. Great defensive stop there. He knew the intentions of Escobedo, talking about Aaron Buensalida. And that forces a timeout here. 8-5 is our score in favor of Letran. 8-5 is our score. Letran still holding on to a 3-point lead after an 8-0 run to start off our first quarter and a 5-0 run. Counter run here by the St. Clair Saints, but they still have the lead. St. Clair still hasn't led so far in this ball game, but they're trying to change that in this possession. Instead, that's going to be a turnover here for the St. Clair Saints. That's also something that they kind of want to, take note of as the basket falls in for Nathania Montecillo. And they are averaging, talking about the St. Clair Saints, they are averaging 31 turnovers. And you can't do that, especially against teams that have their backs against the walls like the Letran Knights, who did come off a huge loss against the FEU Tamaraws. Gustong bumawi ng mga yan. Quick trigger, but not enough time there for Ibanez. And that's because of the shot clock violation. So some substitutions. We have Parinas coming in for Musa. 11-5 is our score. Letran still holding on to that lead. Hugo wants to orchestrate something here. They get the handoff. A little bit of a fumble. Not a really clear view of what exactly he wanted to do there. Skip pass. Mid-range stab. No good. Manzano tracks it. They have 12 on the shot clock with 4 minutes and some change remaining. They get that 3 up. Escobedo wanted that 3. Instead, it is going to be in the hands of Montecillo. And again, another whistle. But that's not going to be on the attempt. It's going to be a call on the floor against St. Clair. It's just a regular foul. And since they aren't over the limit yet, but they're very close, there will be no free throws so far. 19 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Letran with the possession. Hugo feeds it. Cargo was short. And the ball will go back to the St. Clair Saints. Substitutions. Manzano will take a breather. Decibel will come in. 11-5 is our score. 6-point lead for Letran. Pounding in the paint is Bohorcelo. That shot was up, but not in for the Saints. Letran wants to add to their lead. Montecillo weaving his way through traffic. He goes to Gamad. And another foul was called against the Saints, but that is automatically going to be 2 free throws because they are already in the penalty with 3:18 remaining. So again, talking about the standings, both of these teams are still winless. This is going to be the last game of St. Clair. Letran has a chance still to catch up, but every game matters at this point. Gamad gets that first one to fall through. And it's going to be a 13-5 lead by the Knights. Decibel. 10 seconds on the shot clock. It's in the hands of Bohorcelo. He gives it to Dumacas. Dumacas for 3. Bucket is good for Chris Ian Dumacas. So it is a 5-point advantage for Letran. No Manalili on the floor for Letran. He did have to exit. Letran with 14. Gamad picks up a foul by the Saints, and that's going to be the 6th team foul. On the line here is Gamad. So as I mentioned earlier rather, Titing Manalili did exit the court momentarily, but he will still be able to play according to the coaches. So no real issue here. They just want to make sure that everything is good before he re-enters. George Diamante checking in for the Knights. 15-8 is our score. 7-point lead by Letran. Early lead established by that 8-0 run. Bohorcelo. Oh, but an offensive foul was called against the Saints. So it seems like the fouling issues here is going to go on the Saints. So they pick up their 7th. Meanwhile, Letran isn't even in the penalty yet, and they have a 7-point lead. When Salida trying to establish himself on the court, and Aaron gets that through. So 17-8 now is our score, a 9-point lead by Letran. Weaving his way through traffic is Bohorcelo. Great read there again by the Knights. And another foul. That's going to be the 8th of the Knights. Take a look at this. Aaron just using his body in a way where he isn't doing too much. Not excessive contact. You could just see that he's really, so good at understanding his body to the point where the referees won't see too much damage. And he doesn't get a foul on that one because he was just so good at manipulating how he moves his body. But right now, there is going to be some free throws here for Montecillo. Chance to make it an 11-point lead. And Nathaniel does exactly that. 19-18 is our score. St. Clair Saints having some trouble with the defensive pressure here of Letran, but they get it to cross. A little bit of a lull here for the Saints. Having a little bit of issues trying to control the pace of the game, but this time around, it's going to be an offensive foul called on Montecillo. So the same can't be said in that possession. I was just talking about, how he's able to establish himself without fouling, but the same can't be said in that where he picks up an offensive foul. "19 seconds on the shot clock. A lot of time here for the Saints to execute. They want to get a clear look at the rim. And it seems like they have a little bit of trouble there. Oh, that's a perfect pass and a perfect touchdown there for James Denosta. That's exactly what they need right now. They need to get good looks to the cup. And they have less than a minute remaining here in the first quarter to hopefully get themselves going. Montecillo wanted to spoil that run. Gamad also wants to do the same. 2 misses from beyond the arc for the Knights. Montejo picks up a foul by the Knights. That's going to go against George Diamante. 19-10 is the score, 9-point lead. Checking back in for the Knights is Agat Malong. With 29 seconds remaining, 16 seconds on the shot clock. Skip pass to Diamante. The 3 was short by Dumacas. Letran running. Shot clock is off. And another foul was called against the Saints. That's going to be their 9th foul of the quarter. 15.8 seconds remaining. 9-point lead can be a bigger lead after these free throws by Gamad. So again, Letran is doing all of this without Titing Manalili, who exited the court but was reported that he can come back anytime. Coach Alan Ricardo just not taking his chances. You know, you want to make sure that your player is fully healthy, fully ready before he enters. Gamad, 2 for 2. 21-10 is the score. Warning for delaying the game on Luis Tapeño. 15.8 remaining. Look at the defense again by Letran. Picking up another steal are the Knights. 8 seconds on the game clock. They need to make a move straight to the cup. Kick out to Gamad for 3. Gamad, at the end of the first quarter, continues to pile on the lead by the Letran Knights. 24-10 is the score, and you could really see that that was established early on by an 8-0 run. And they bring up their tally to 24 after St. Clare scores only 10 at the end of the first. 24-10 is our score. The Letran Knights establish a 14-point lead against the St. Clair Saints. Both of these teams are still looking for that elusive first win here at the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. Both of these teams are in that Group C. But one thing that these teams are really looking out for is giving themselves a chance to at least, you know, compete for that quarterfinals matchup. Arellano Chiefs and the FEU Tamaraws are both at the top of the leaderboard, but they still have a chance, especially for the Letran Knights after they only played one game so far. So again, the teams are guaranteed 3 games in that eliminations because it is a round of 16 between these 4 groups. And a strong start here by Clint Manzano. Great adjustment there by Coach Gino to start things off. Foul picked up by the defense of the Saints. So one thing that's good, at least, even if they went into foul trouble early on for the St. Clair Saints, is you could see that, you know, the fouling is at least spread out. So there's no player that is, you know, limiting their minutes because of that fouling issue. So at least it is, you know, a good rotation there for Coach Gino Manansala. He doesn't have to limit the minutes of his players because they put themselves in foul trouble. So at least that's one good thing about what's happening right now to the Saints. 25-12 is the score. They're playing catch up. 9 seconds on the shot clock. And a foul was called against Letran. Second foul there for Nathaniel Montesillo. Gamad checks out. Montesillo also checks out. New faces here coming back in. Shot clock is at 14 with 9:17 remaining. A lot of stoppages so far because both teams committed a foul early in this first quarter. They wanted to go to Manzano. Instead, it is a pickup there by Letran. And another foul was called against the Saints. Justin Cargo will be going to the line for two. Look at that last play. Again, this is what we're talking about. The teamwork between Letran has been good on the defensive end, and that kind of feeds their offense. 25-12 is a score. Letran almost doubling, or rather doubling, the score of the St. Clair Saints. And again, this has been a pattern here for St. Clair, unfortunately for them. They have some trouble starting strong. And they have to play catch-up yet again against a huge challenger here with Letran. They need to execute in this play. It's in the hands of Bondok. Bondok needs to orchestrate. He has 5 seconds on the shot clock. He's forced to hoist a 3, but lucky for him, he caught a body mid-air. And that's going to be free throws here for Bondok. Great way to cut down the lead without having so much pressure. Again, they're struggling to find some answers to the defense of Letran, talking about St. Clair. So this is a great way to stop the plays, try to recuperate, and to give themselves extra chances to get some points, talking about St. Clair Saints. Referees want to make sure if it is going to be 3 free throws or just a long 2 attempt, which gives them 2 free throws. Making sure that no foot was on the line. It looked like a 3 from our angle, but let's take a look at the referee's POV. So in that replay, it looked like a 3. But our referees actually said that it was a 2. Just a long 2 attempt. Of course, our referees have a better angle because they have the benefit of having multiple. Coach Gino Manansala and the rest of the Saints playing catch-up. Sorry, they did deem it as a 3-point play. So it is 3 free throws. And that's going to be 2 out of 3 for Sean Bondok. Sean Bondok will take a quick break. Soy Escobedo checks back in. 26-14 is our score. Knights trying to orchestrate without their primary point guard. Straight to the cup, bucket, and the foul there for Justin Cargo. And he gives the Knights 2 points, a chance for a 3-point play. Look at that, Cargo just going straight to the cup despite all the physicality from down under. (29-14) now is the score. 15-point lead for Letran. Handoff. Bohorcelo gets that screen by Malong. Malong has it. They go underneath. But Letran doing just enough to swipe it out of possession. That was already a good look there for the Saints. Letran just doing absolutely everything to stop that play. 6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Bohorcelo. Shot was short, but they get their own rebound. Still no go there. Ibanez did have a stronger start in the first quarter. That was off to the left. Bohorcelo, Ibanez, short. Two white shirts going for that ball. 29-14 is our score. About 7:30 remaining here in our first half. Great swipe there. That's a good defensive effort there for Agat Malong, forcing an offensive foul against the Knights. So now they have a clear view. 24 seconds on this possession. No need to rush things. They have a lot of time. No trouble crossing the court. Desabel. Weaving through traffic is Bohorcelo. And he runs into a wall, but that was just too much contact in that last play. It looked like a good attempt, but the extension on that left arm was picked up. 29-14 is the score. $15-point lead. Swipe by St. Clare rather, and a big dunk there. Statement dunk by Agat Malong, and this might change things for St. Clare. Letran wanted to stop that run, but unfortunately that basket doesn't fall in for Silorio. Take a look at this, just the energizer there by Agat Malong. He wants to get things going for his squad. They did have a good run midway through that that first quarter. So it seems like this game is being played by a game of runs. You know, 8-0 run, 5-0 run, counter runs here and there. That was a faulty pass that looked like an attempt from Bohorcelo. Scramble. Now it's in the hands of Letran. They're trying to attack. Letran pulls back, and a foul was called against the Saints. And it's going to be a penalty situation. So this is already the second time that the St. Clair Saints picked up multiple fouls even before that 5-minute mark. So 6 minutes in, they're already in the penalty. That seems to be the struggle here for the Saints. Substitutions for Coach Alan Ricardo. So that's something that Coach Gino needs to, address in their timeouts. They have been getting into foul trouble so early on in the quarter that actually stops them from making runs. And right now, it has been a game of runs. 31-16 is our score. Clearly, Letran getting favored by these runs. 10 seconds on the shot clock. They were trying to go to Malong. The interference there by the defense of Hugo.
6 seconds on the shot clock. 6 seconds to shoot.
6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 6:07 remaining on the game clock. 31-16. Castañeda gives it to Malong. That was straight but short, and time runs out for the Saints. 31-16 is our score. Hugo goes to Estrada. Jimboy goes to Muyuela. Estrada again to Muyuela. Basket is good. That's a great looking shot there by Ranz Muyuela. Whistle on the floor, and now even Letran is in the penalty. So a slower paced second quarter as both of these teams have reached the penalty even before reaching the halfway point. Free throws coming up for Joko Bohorcelo. They extend the lead, or rather they cut down the lead. 34-17 is our score. Still favoring Letran. St. Clair still hasn't led in this ball game, and Gabriel Nepasena is continuing the run by Letran. Fumble between the balls, multiple dives and efforts there for Muyuela. Ranz really just not giving up the play. And you know, he is rewarded with an extra possession. You could see that the bench of Letran was extremely happy with the effort there by Ranz. They have 14 seconds. Extra possession for them. Estrada. Oh, but he is called for a double dribble. Sayang yung opportunity. But lucky for them, it's no need to hit the panic button. They have established themselves very early on. 36-17 is our score. The kick out. Weaving his way through traffic is Escobedo. Escobedo wanted to get a foul. Instead, it's in the hands of the Knights. 5 versus 2. No problem there for Jimboy Estrada. He has so much experience playing for different leagues where you can see his maturity really shining here. Look at that by Estrada. 2 guys jumping right in front of him. No problem there for Estrada. Just such a strong guard is Jimboy. But Justine Hugo has a chance to cut things down again. Both of these teams are already in the penalty, so it's going to be free throws anytime our referees blow the whistle. Two for two there is Hugo. Richmond Montejo checking back in. 38-19 is our score. Hugo. Great defensive stop there by Escobedo. Just couldn't complete it, but at least, you know, there you have it. He rattles the offense of Letran because of that. You know, they didn't really get a quality look there, talking about the Knights, because of the defensive stop there by Escobedo. So 38-19 is our score. 4:15 remaining with a fresh 24 here for St. Clair. Montejo crossing safely. They give the handover to Desabel. Desabel! Straight to the cup. Leonard Desabel. And it seems like there is a run building here for the Saints. Estrada wants to cut that. Estrada fade away, doesn't fall. Montejo with the rebound. Montejo almost lost it, recovers with 17. Desabel. Escobedo. Parinas looked like he wanted to shoot it. 8 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Escobedo. Couple of passes. They go inside to Desabel, who gets that off before the 24-second shot clock violation. 38 to 23 is the score. Momentum heading over to the Saints. Estrada orchestrating. Nepasena couldn't get that through. Montejo navigating, surveilling the floor. Off-ball movement by the Saints. Out of control there. Another possession for Letran. Escobedo gets that possession back. Escobedo wanted to go straight to the cup. Instead, another basket there for Leonard Desabel. That's a second straight basket in the same position. 38 to 25. Great off-ball movement here by the Saints. It seems like they've turned things around, but the hot start here by Letran keeping them alive as Jimboy Estrada. Just no problem. You know, that's maturity for you. Hindi natataranta tuwing may mga runs tong si St. Clare. They kick it out. Parinas has 10 seconds at the top of the key. Desabel goes to Escobedo. 5 seconds on the shot clock. He picks up the double team. Escobedo to Desabel. Not enough time. Are the St. Clare Saints. Couple of fresh legs coming in for both of these squads. 40 to 25 is the score. Look at this one. You know what, just so good at positioning himself is Gamad. Oh, sorry, is Desabel. Leonard Desabel just so good at reading the situation, putting himself where the defense doesn't see him, but his teammates do. Gabriel Nepasena. Basket is good for Justin Cargo. Again, that's a good trait to have if you're Letran. Hindi kayo natataranta tuwing may mga run. And Jimboy Estrada now wants to establish a run. So great answer back. Look at how Coach Allen is just in their faces. Foul called against the Knights. You know, you could see that there's really a premium on defense for the entire Letran squad. Escobedo with some free throws. First attempt is good. 1:17 remaining here in our first half. Soy couldn't get that second one. He splits the free throw. So 44-26 is where we stand with about a minute and some change. Good off-ball movement. Justin Cargo's attempt was short. And now it goes back to the Saints with a minute and 5 remaining here in the second period. Desabel checking back in. UC checking in for Estrada. Faulty pass, but great hands there by Montejo. He just saves that possession. He goes to Leonard. 15 seconds on the shot clock. 3-point attempt coming up. Rolls in and out, but out of nowhere there is Dumacas. Just snatching that out of the air. 10 seconds on the shot clock. The drive by Soy Escobedo. Delayed kick out, and Leonard Desabel has been monumental here on the run of St. Clare. 44-28 is the score. And a whistle there by our referees. Elijah UC will be going to the line for 2. 22.8 seconds remaining. 28-44. Letran leading all the way. No chances yet so far for St. Clare, but you could see it's a tit for tat Letran just getting the better hand, especially after that early lead. 22 seconds remaining here in our first half. Shot clock is off. Montejo wants that last shot attempt. Off-ball movement. Escobedo has it. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Double team by Letran. Montejo releases. Basket is good. And again, another basket at the end of our period. This time around, it's going to favor St. Clare, but 45-30 is where we stand. The the Letran Knights leading by 15 at the end of 20 minutes of action. welcome back to the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. It is our first game here at the Ateneo Blue Eagle Gym here in Katipunan, Quezon City. And the Letran Knights getting the better hand against St. Clare. 45-30 is our score. And you know, this could be credited by the runs here by Letran. One thing that I noticed, hindi sila natataranta every time St. Clare makes a run. And I think that composure has really built on, you know, the years of experience that they've had. Again, this is a silver medal finisher, talking about the Letran Knights. But again, on the other side of things, syempre si St. Clare, 8-time champion lang naman ng NSAC. So the best of the best here in the collegiate ranks, battling it out in our first game against the Letran Knights. Just trying their absolute best to hold on to this lead, and so far, this entire game, practically 20 minutes of basketball has been in their favor. And you know, one thing that I also want to credit, of course, is the individual efforts of some players on the side of Letran. Gamad with 12 points, 2 out of 4 from the field, 6 out of 6 from free throw territory. He is the reason why Letran is leading by 15. And you could look at the field goals, more or less the same, diba? Pero one big difference maker talaga is that 3-point field goal attempts. You could see 5-2, you know, and that's practically all you need right now, because you're making good shots, you're taking a lot from beyond the arc. You know, the difference between three-pointers is 9 points. And then you could see that they're piling on also on the side of the field goals, more or less the same, better percentages here for Letran, who is shooting at 52 compared to St. Clare's about 39%. But one thing I also want to mention is the turnover story. Letran has 11, and St. Clare was able to convert just 10 points compared to St. Clare's 15 turnovers that Letran was able to make into 20 points. And again, that has been the story of the game, you know, capitalizing on mistakes. And this is what I was talking about also. Gamad with an extraordinary effort here in the first 20 minutes of play. But you also cannot count out Leonard Decibel, who has 4 out of 5 from the field with 8 points. And you know, those baskets came in such a timely manner also. You could see that he was starting off runs, and anytime that Letran felt like they were starting to pull away, bigla siyang mabubuhay. And that's exactly what you need right now for the St. Clair Saints, who are looking for that elusive first win after 2 losses against FEU and Arellano. So third quarter action will resume. Again, we are here at the Ateneo Blue Eagle Gym in Katipunan, QC. This is just the first game of many, many games here at the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. Letran versus St. Clair for your first game. UST versus NU for the second. LaSalle and Mapua. And then, of course, the Battle of Katipunan between UP and Ateneo to end our Sunday evening. Welcome, everybody. My name is Rain Tigzon, and this game is extremely crucial for both of these teams, especially for Letran, because they want to keep themselves alive and in contention in their quarterfinals run, or what they want to hope as a quarterfinals run. And we started off with a basket there by Siena. 48-30 now is the score. Drop pass was supposed to be for Parinas. Instead, it's in the hands of the Letran Knights. And that basket is good for Manalili. So he is back in the ball game after exiting early in that first quarter. Happy to see him back on the floor. No real issues there, especially injury-wise. Manalili forward pass to Siena. 50-30 now is the score. 20-point lead established by the white shirts. Take a look at this. Unang pasok pa lang. Basket ka agad para kay Titing Manalili. 12 seconds on the shot clock. That was a little bit of a rushed shot there by Gamad. So St. Clair has a chance to make another run. Again, this has been a game of runs. Both of these teams have been cluster scoring. 50-30 still is our score. 8:22 remaining with 9 seconds on the shot clock for the blue shirts. Escobedo will be the one inbounding in this possession. Soy. They need to orchestrate something quickly. They want to make sure that it's not too big of a problem here, especially as they have just about 20 minutes remaining in regulation. Great tap out there by Hugo. That was a great read. But the recovery there by Dumancas. Again, a basket. But this time it was short for Decibel. And the touchdown there by Gamad. He has 14. He is leading in scoring. Escobedo trying to shuffling his way out of Manalili's defense. Too much contact on that last play. That's going to go against the Knights. But great forward pass, just locating Gamad, who was ahead of the pack, to bring their tally up 52-30. 14 seconds remaining on the shot clock with 7:40 remaining in the game. Or rather, in the third quarter. Escobedo. Dumancas. 3 coming up. Off the marker. Couldn't get that one to fall in as Gamad. He's getting a little aggressive here, but then again, he is the top scorer of the squad. And speaking of aggression, it's going to be a foul called against the white shirts.
Walking foul on number 16, Sienna.
That's going to go against Sienna. Lance couldn't keep it in control. He was trying to dive for that ball, causing a little bit of a collision against Soy Escobedo. 52-30 is our score. Letran hoping to get their first win here at the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. Off the marker were the blue shirts. A little bit of contact in that last possession. You could see Justin Hugo was a little shaken up by the contact. Manalili, no problem escaping the defense of Montejo. Foul was called on the floor. That's going to go against Richmond Montejo. Second foul by St. Clare. So Manalili will be on the floor for 2. 52-30 is our score. Make that 53 after the free throw attempt by Manalili. 2 for 2 there. No problem there for Titing Manalili. 54-30 now is the score. 6:46 remaining. And a little bit of a scruffle there between Montejo and Sienna. And actually you could, if you recall just a few possessions ago, it was between the two of them that they were really, getting at each other.
23 seconds of the shot clock.
Sienna guarding Montejo. This matchup has been extremely physical here in the third. Montejo feeds it to Escobedo. Escobedo goes over to Dumancas. Couple of passes and Escobedo lost it. So now the possession will go over to Letran. Letran shooting at a 51% clip. St. Clare shooting at 35. So that is the story of the game. More or less, the attempts are the same. Rebounds are also relatively the same. Even the turnovers. You know, it's just Letran is just shooting better. That's exactly what's happening right now. And that's the reason why they established the lead as big as this, 54-30. Kind of a high-scoring ball game we have in our hands. Gamad was stripped away by the defense of Dumancas. Dumancas couldn't get that to fall through. He's going for a second attempt. Basket still doesn't fall in for Christian. Manalili weaving through traffic. Manalili, beautiful pass, and that basket is good for Justin Hugo. And you know, to no one's surprise, that's going to be another assist there for Manalili. 56-30. Escobedo wanted to shoot that. He dares the defense of Letran. Spins. Shot is short. Letran with a clear possession here. Manalili again, another beautiful pass. This time around, Aaron Buensalida was the recipient. Escobedo, in and out, three. Halfway through. Manalili. And an offensive foul was called against Letran. Take a look at this. Beautiful passes there by Manalili. And he's just so flashy, but he does it in such a way that's it's also so efficient. You know, you could see that his passes are beautifully done, you know, very flashy, but it isn't reckless also. And that's a good thing about Manalili is he's mastered the art of that. 58-30 now is our score. Letran still taking care of that lead. Manzano goes to Malong. Three on its way. That was short by Castañeda. Manalili surveilling the floor, looking left and right. Drop pass. Back to Manalili. Again, another touch pass. Just couldn't get the board. Is Justin Cargo. Castañeda goes to Malong. Malong, the only FSA on the floor so far. And again, NCAA teams are playing with an all-Filipino lineup. Seems like it's not a problem in this matchup. Bondok goes to Malong. He hands it over to Bohorcelo. They go to Castañeda, who fires a three. That was in and out. Manalili has it. Manalili weaving. Skip pass. Couple of passes, but they lose the ball rather is Estrada, and that's just gonna be a basic move by Joho Borcelo. No problem there, no defenders. Diamante. Estrada. Manalili fires a three. Manalili, bottom of the net, bucket there from long range for Titing Manalili. 61-32 is our score. Castañeda wants to answer back. He goes to Malong. Agat. A three on its way, and finally, it finally connects there for Ryan Castañeda. Oh, sorry, that was for Sean Bondok. Jimboy going to Diamante. They skip it. Everybody attempting threes at this point. 2:30 remaining in this third period. Manalili from long range, well beyond the arc. And on the other end, you know, the same can be said there for Bondok. So confident in that shot. Defensive pressure ramped up here by Letran. Bohorcelo doing enough to recover, and it's gonna be an offensive foul though, called against the blue shirt. So it seems like as Bohorcelo was trying to weave his way through traffic, there was too much contact that our referees located, and that will bring the ball back to the white shirts. Diamante goes over to Montesillo. And a travel was called against George Diamante. 2:05 remaining. Letran doing an excellent job taking care of the lead, not even giving St. Clare any chances or any breathing room. A 26-point lead established by the white shirts. Take a look at that. It's going to be a foul call despite a good defensive stop there against Clint Manzano, and that's the reason why Cargo is on the line for two. Justin Cargo getting both in. 62-35 is the score. Less than 2 minutes remaining here in the third period. Along. Three. Bucket is good. Again, for Sean Bondok, they need more of that if they want to, you know, give themselves a chance here. They still have never led in this ball game. Talking about the blue shirts, and that basket is good for Cyrex Silorio. Letran just executing extremely well on both ends of the floor. Sean gives the bucket up at the final second, and Agat Malong was fouled.
Holding foul on number 7, Nathan Montestillo. That's his third, 4.
That's going to be a foul called against Nathaniel Montesillo. That's going to be his third personal foul. Malong way short on the attempt. 1:14 remaining. And just a refresher, in that Asiabasket Campus Tour in 2025, the St. Clair Saints actually ended 3-3 in the group stage, just under Ateneo and LaSalle in Group A, who eventually made it all the way to the finals, but they were eliminated by NU in the quarterfinals, talking about St. Clair. And they also have an 8-time NAASCU championship. So this is a very talented team. They're really just struggling this season. Meanwhile, the Letran Knights, they finished third in Group B, which gave them automatic qualifications in the quarterfinals of the NCAA. And then they beat Arellano twice, giving them an upset after Arellano had that twice to beat advantage. And then they moved over to the semis, where they swept Perpetual, and eventually in the finals they lost to San Beda. But both of these teams have a lot of experience on their belts. And it's really just, you know, the unfamiliarity against who they're going up against, the different format. You know, every game is practically a do or die in this kind of format. 4 groups with 16 teams, so only 3 games per team. Talagang you cannot have a bad game in this kind of format. And right now, Letran really maximizing the opportunity after that loss yesterday to FEU. Shot clock is off, 15 seconds remaining. Quick trigger there by Sean Bondok. You know, he's keeping his squad alive. Really maximizing opportunities here on the floor. But there will be a whistle and the ball returns to St. Clare. This is that basket by Sean Bondok, which I like because, you know, you don't really need to look at the scoreboard at this moment. You really just need to execute. This, diba, sana magulat ka na lang na, ay, biglang nakahabol na kami. And that's what Coach Gino is hoping that his team will do. Final trigger there, doesn't fall in for Bohorcelo, but you know, the lead will remain here with the Letran Knights. 64-41 is our score at the end of 30 minutes of action here in our first game of the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour. (64-41 is our score. Letran Knights really taking care of the lead all 30 minutes, not even giving St. Clare an opportunity to get one over them. And here in the third quarter, you could see that Letran just kept pounding on despite the lead. And you like that about them because, you know, they aren't getting too composed or overconfident against St. Clare. You could see that they really wanted to execute on both ends of the floor, and that's exactly what they need right now because they are playing catch-up in terms of the standings. They did lose to FEU yesterday, 100-76. So if they want to keep their chances alive here in the quarterfinals, they need to make every single game count and hopefully get a big win margin just to keep themselves alive. Of course, FEU and Arellano both have chances still in that quarterfinals matchups. Again, it's a best of 4. It is a round of 16 with 4 groups. So only 3 games are guaranteed for each competing team. And the records of both of these teams, they're still winless, trying to pick up their first win here at our NSAC 2026. And we started off with our possession so far here with Letran. Welcome everybody to our broadcast. The first game out of 4. Jimboy Estrada wants to get us going here. Welcome everyone. My name is Rain Tigzon. 66-41 is where we stand here in the 4th period. And a foul was called against the defense of Luis Tapeño. But look at this, Estrada, just a man against boys in that last opportunity, just outsmarting the defense of St. Clare. 19 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 9:27 seconds remaining in regulation. Malong wanted to go to Bondok, but Malong finds the ball right in his hands. And that's going to be a quick trigger there for Agat Malong. Estrada. Oh, an offensive foul was called again on Luis Tapeño, who picked up back-to-back fouls. This time around, it's when he was trying to establish a screen on Jimboy Estrada. .905 remaining. Sean Bondok was monumental on the run of St. Clare. He's trying to keep them alive here. That's the reason why Coach Gino employs him still on the floor, but that attempt was short. It's back in the hands of Bohorcelo, rather. Forward pass to Cargo. Couple of disruptions there by the defense of St. Clair. Estrada. Another offensive foul was called on the floor on Luis Tapeño. So that's 3 consecutive fouls there for Tapeño. And you know, he didn't play too much in the first 3 quarters. And he's already picked up 3 fouls here with not even 2 minutes going by. Cargo also picks up a foul. So an early foul issue. 4 already for Letran with 8:24 remaining. Trying to weave through traffic and doing just enough there is Joko Bohorcelo. So they get 2 free throws, but more importantly, they put Letran in the penalty situation with just 2 minutes or even less going by. So, you know, we talked about how in the first 3 periods, you could see that Letran was really executing, no overconfidence issues in their part. But this time around, it seems like St. Clair has a stronger start against Letran rather. And that can be credited to their understanding of the calls here in the fourth. And actually, it's funny because in that first quarter, St. Clair picked up 9 fouls. And now they force Letran in the penalty with just 2 minutes passing by. But in that possession, they were unable to keep things at bay. Now it's a chance for Letran. Kick out. Shot off to the right. Weaving through traffic is Bondok. Montejo forces Letran to pick up a 6th foul. Four fouls already for Montecillo. 6 fouls already for the team. Talking about Letran. Kevin Santos. Oh, sorry. Richmond Montejo getting that one through. Three attempt was no good for Jimboy. They want to slow things down, says Richmond Montejo. Montejo being defended by Elijah UC. Montejo couldn't get that mid-range stab. Magat Along. Agat Malong just working his way underneath. And, you know, no room for complacency here for Letran. Naghahabol sila in terms of the standings, and every point matters, especially in a format like this. Great looking shot there by Nathaniel Montecillo, but he doesn't get that one through. 66-48 is the score. Ball is in the hands of Montejo. Richmond. 9 seconds on the shot clock. He picks up a double team. They wanted to go to Agat Malong, but that was tapped out by the defense there of Luis Tapeño. And a timeout is called for St. Clair. They need to make a run here if they want to keep themselves alive, as they are trailing 66-48. 66-48 is our score. 18-point lead for the Letran Knights. But the St. Clair Saints are making a significant contribution here in our fourth period. They are outscoring Letran 7-2. And you know, so far here in our ball game, they haven't done that in any quarter. 24-10 in the first, 21-20, a very close second quarter, but 19-11 in that third period. So the odd quarters, quarter 1 and quarter 3, is where they thrive. Talking about Letran in this ball game. But the St. Clair Saints was able to keep things close in the second period, and they're hoping to do the same here in the fourth. Again, 0-2 is their standing, but they are a team that has a lot of potential. They are 8-time champions in the NSAC. Coach Gino, of course, 6 out of those 8 championships will be credited to him. Montejo wants to keep piling on the lead here. Montejo getting that one in. So it's 9-2 here in the fourth period. So again, you might not need to look at the quarter, or rather the game score at this point. If you're St. Clair, you want to take a look at the quarter scoring to see how you performed every single quarter. But Sidex Silorio rather wants to keep things at bay, wants to keep things as far as it is here for Letran. 69-50. About halfway through our fourth and final period. And it seems like Coach Gino will keep the same guys on the floor all throughout. No substitution so far for him. Estrada weaving. Drop pass was supposed to be for Luis. Oh, but the great recovery there by Jimboy Estrada, who does not give up on the play, bringing their tally up to 71. That's going to be a 21-point lead against the Saints. Manzano almost lost it. Clint gives it to Malong. Agat Malong receives a foul, and he will go to the line for 2. 7 fouls will be called against Letran. 71-50 is our score. 2 shots coming up for Malong. Some newcomers coming in for Coach Allen. Denzel Walker checking in for the first time. (71-51), 20-point lead for Letran. Season Walker went for that 3, but that was not gonna fall in. Now it's with Montejo. Montejo gets a screen by Malong. Montejo spinning his way. Defensive stop was almost in the hands of Letran, but just Richmond Montejo just keeping his composure, not getting rattled by that. Straight to the cup, but a foul was called against the blue shirts. That's going to go against Leonard Decibel, who had an excellent second quarter. That's going to be the shot there by Richmond Montejo. Free throws here for Luis Tapeño. 72-53 is our score. The Saints. Malong gives the dribble up to Bondok. Sean Bondok fires. No good. Shot clock was winding down there. Denzel going to Celorio. Montecillo trying to pull things back. Denzel, Season, Walker couldn't get that to fall in. Ball stays with the white shirts, but it is stripped away by St. Clair. They want to keep going, and that basket falls in for Richmond Montejo. And again, you might want to win this fourth quarter scoring just to give, a moral victory for your squad. And right now, they are outscoring Letran 12-8 here in the fourth period. Celorio wanted to change that, but he airballs that. Montejo, it's still with him. He gets that screen by Malong. And that was too much for Elijah Yusi. That was an obvious foul right in front of our referees. Look at this, Montejo. If there was a star in that third quarter, that was obviously gonna go for... That was obviously gonna go on the side of St. Clair's Sean Bondok, but this time around, it seems like it's Richmond Montejo who is carrying here in the fourth period. But unfortunately, it seems like it's just a little too late to create a run. Again, now your focus is going to be on that fourth quarter scoring, and right now they are outscoring Letran 14-8. So our score is at 72-57. Letran did not give St. Clair a chance to even take the lead. Bucket doesn't fall in for Montecillo.
Last 2 minutes.
Final 2 minutes called out here at the Blue Eagle Gym. Again, this is just the first of 4 games. Slam dunk there by Agat Malong. He's had 2 of those in this game. But for our fans, kung gusto nyo humabol dito, here in the Ateneo Blue Eagle Gym, our NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour will give you 3 more games after this. USC versus NU, LaSalle versus Mapua, and UP versus Ateneo. All good games coming up here in our Sunday game day, our 4th day of action. Take a look at that. No problem there. Extremely athletic move by Agat Malong. You cannot leave him wide open. Escobedo now back in the ball game. Wow, what a move there. That is such a nice move there by Soy Soy Escobedo. 72-61 is the score. And you can see the effort here of St. Clair. In all fairness to them, this fourth quarter run has been spectacular. I mean, if only they had this in the first quarter, the game may have been very different. They are outscoring Letran 20-8 here in this fourth period. And just like that, take a look at our scoreboard. It's just determined at 10 points. This is a very manageable lead. 72-62 is the score. So it's just 10 points separating these two teams. 1:08 remaining. Ganun-ganun lang. St. Clair just making a significant run. And, we're not sure if this is going to be enough time to create something. But why not, give it a try, St. Clair. Less than a minute remaining. All you need is maybe 3 3-pointers, and suddenly it's a 1-point game. Escobedo just pushes. Oh, sorry, Denzel Walker pushes Escobedo out. And that's going to be a penalty situation yet again for Letran. That's already their 8th team foul. So it's going to be 2 free throws here for Escobedo. And this is the first time in a very long time that St. Clair is actually within striking range. He makes this, it's just an 8-point game. The first time in a very long time that this has been a single-digit lead. Talking about St. Clair. So a great effort here in the 4th period. But it seems like Letran is just going to waste away the clock. They're trying to hold on to this. They have the benefit of time and score. Walker, 3 points on its way. That's too strong for Silorio. Now it's with St. Clair. Montejo. Escobedo. Escobedo goes to Montejo. Shot clock reads 10. And a little bit of confusion on that rebound. And that seems to be the end of our ball game. But, you know, you gotta give a huge shout out to the effort there by St. Clair, outscoring Letran 22-8. But in the end of our ball game, of course, the Letran Knights taking care of the lead for all 40 minutes. They end 72-64. That's going to be their first win here at the NSAC 2026. Our rebounder of the game was to Agat Malong, who really just, you know, piled on, just trying to give his team a chance. And in that 4th quarter, he was also very monumental there. Lord Gamad will be our player of the game. He scored 14 points, 3 out of 7. And more than anything, he really established, you know, early on what the flow of the game would be. And that was significant in the run here of Letran to take their first win in the Group C. Of course, that will give them a chance to make it to the quarterfinals should Arellano and FEU knock some games down. So they are very much in the running, talking about the silver medal finishers of the NCAA. 72-64 is our score. So many more games coming up later on here at the Ateneo Blue Eagle Gym. But thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Rain Tigzon, and on behalf of our director Glenn Infante and our game producer Manny Gabutina, thank you for joining us early on this Sunday morning. And sana makahabol kayo dito sa Ateneo as we have 3 more games coming up here at the NSAC 2026 College Basketball Campus Tour.